just came out. It's going to get more waves, I think, Mike. The ESPN announcer, Scott Van Pelt, who does a radio show with Mike Tirico in afternoons on ESPN, got suspended for criticizing baseball commissioner Bud Selig.
When I heard Bud Selig got paid more than $18 million in 2007 was to choke on my vomit. I think I puked in my mouth a little bit.
So many things about the way ESPN operates creates potential for conflict of interest.
Yes,
Scott Van Pelt does SportsCenter and does regular reporting, but then he also does a radio show where you kind of shoot from the hip and just say stuff. And this was stuff about he threw up in his mouth a little bit when he found out how much money Bud Selig was making. He's making like 17, 18 million a year. And
$3 million increase from last year.
And has zero charisma and has not been a great commissioner and all this kind of stuff. In the context of the criticism that Bud Selig has received over his years as baseball commissioner, relatively mild stuff.
Definitely.
The difference is that Scott Van Pelt works for an organization that is in business with Bud Selig, and this brings up this conflict of interest thing.
That's the whole reason why this is a topic this week.
Sure.
I probably wouldn't care otherwise, but I'm thinking ESPN does baseball games with Major League Baseball. If Dan Patrick, who's not with ESPN anymore, if somebody at NBC, Bob Costas, would make a comment
If Eric
Stark makes a comment about Bud Selig, and I think I probably have. I think Mike Gross has.
Sure.
If we make a comment about him, Bud Selig is probably not going to call up the newspaper to complain about it.
And if he did, he probably wouldn't get anywhere. Let's hope he wouldn't get anywhere.
You would hope. But what does this say about this influence and how ESPN is going to cover stories? If Bud Selig can call up ESPN and get a guy suspended, and Scott Van Pelt had to apologize to him too. And
ridiculous.
I think this is going to be a new trend with big business. When big business is in bed with the media, and you see this more and more with newspapers, and because of the financial status, some of the arrangements they have with big business, I'm afraid this could become the norm and not the.
I think it's a very legitimate fear, but it's as far as ESPN is concerned, the toothpaste is way out of the tube on this. Look at SportsCenter. Watch SportsCenter sometime and compare the way they cover the NBA, who they are in business with, to the way they cover the NHL, which they are not in business with.
Oh, that's a great point. And it's frustrating as somebody that's a sports fan. It's the way they slant and cover stories anymore.
There's no question that this has seeped into, and this is the biggest sports media entity in the world, and it's a problem, and maybe more of a problem going forward.